To penetrate the infinite, one cannot rely solely on accumulated knowledge. On this path, common sense, logic, and intuition are far more important, as they allow one to accept that which goes beyond the limits of ordinary analysis. Scientific methods, rooted in the study of matter, can explain phenomena at the level of molecules and atoms. Yet beyond these structures, they encounter emptiness. When the researcher attempts to reach into the depths of the infinite, matter seems to withdraw, leaving behind an incomprehensible void, conventionally called the ether. Attempts of science to explore this ether face limitations, for traditional methods of analysis are powerless here. The greatest mistake of classical science is its insistence on explaining the world only through matter and physical laws. Anything that does not fit within this framework is either ignored or rejected. The opposite extreme is found in religious doctrines, where the unexplainable is attributed to supernatural, divine, or spiritual forces. In truth, spirit and matter are manifestations of a single principle existing in opposite polarities. To grasp this principle, one must study the world from both perspectives, both poles, which allows one to understand the essence of universal duality. Duality manifests everywhere: light and darkness, good and evil, activity and rest. Each person chooses which pole to lean toward, and that choice determines his path. Evil, like good, is not absolute. It is merely one pole of the dual world. The absolute exists beyond duality, beyond space and time, radiating complete goodness. Evil is always limited and temporary, because its opposite, good, eventually prevails. Yet, despite duality, all emerges from a single source. The material world is only the realization of ideas that exist outside time and space. Even when material objects crumble, the idea itself continues to exist eternally. For instance, the thought of a temple, its architectural concept, remains immortal even after the physical structure turns to ruins. This shows that the material world is necessary as a stage for the manifestation of ideas, but true reality lies beyond it. This understanding leads to the vision of a chain of worlds descending from the source into material expression. 4 main levels can be distinguished: spiritual, mental, astral, and material. Each of these levels is both a reflection and a symbol of the one before it. Spiritual energy emanating from the source gradually manifests through thought, idea, symbolic form, and finally material object. Material things themselves are but symbols, mirrors of higher levels of existence. Through careful observation of material and symbolic manifestations, one may trace the path back to the source, although human perception can only penetrate so far. The source of all, the Absolute, has no form, no atoms, no motion, no consciousness as we understand it. It is eternal and one. Within it lie the potential of all qualities and attributes, but they reveal themselves only through emanation. Creation begins with the first vibration, which gives rise to duality and motion. From this primal vibration arise 2 poles, active and passive, masculine and feminine, motion and rest. These poles, equal and interacting, form the foundation for the further manifestation of energy into matter. Matter is crystallized spirit. It arises where energy reaches a state of inertia, and its density depends on the degree of ethericity. Spirit and matter are 2 sides of one essence, governed by the single law of polarity. To understand this polarity is to grasp the process of evolution. Energy, passing through the material world, unfolds and gains infinite possibilities, only to return again to its original spiritual form. All that we perceive is but a tool for the evolution of spirit. Humanity, as the representative of the higher realms within the material world, carries the capacity to consciously engage with these forces and awaken spiritual potential. Through observation, symbolic insight, and the practical application of the Hermetic laws of the universe, one may draw nearer to the source, discovering harmony between the duality of manifestation and the unity of the Absolute. After understanding the source and duality, the next step is to consider the process of emanation. Emanation is the descent of energy from the Absolute into the material world through successive levels of manifestation. Each level exists both as a reflection of the previous one and as preparation for the next. The main levels are spiritual, mental, astral, and material, each representing a unique sphere of experience and expression.
The spiritual level is the primary origin of conscious energy, a domain where energy remains pure, unmoving, almost beyond the grasp of the ordinary human mind. Here arise the principles from which all ideas and forms are later born. Spiritual energy manifests as thought. Thought creates the idea, and the idea eventually takes on symbolic form. These forms serve as a bridge between the invisible and the visible worlds. The mental level is the realm where ideas begin to acquire structure, yet remain non-physical. At this level, systems of laws and regularities are formed, which govern the manifested world. Through the mental plane, energy gains direction and the potential to interact with other levels. In the astral plane, energy receives emotional and vibrational qualities, shaping the dynamics of the material world to come. The astral level can be compared to a psychic field, where moods, images, and connections between various expressions of energy are created. The material world is the final point of energy's descent, where the spiritual and mental condense into solid form. Here, energy appears as atoms, molecules, matter, and the entire tangible world. Yet it is vital to understand, no material object is ever the source itself. It is only a reflection of emanation, a symbol through which spirit gains the chance to manifest and interact with itself.
The process of emanation is illustrated through the principle of polarity. Energy divides into two poles, opposite yet complementary. The positive pole represents active, creative energy, moving forward. The negative pole represents rest, inertia, passive substance. Their interaction produces material objects, while still preserving the bond with the original spiritual essence. This is why matter is crystallized spirit. It contains the potential for motion while resting in relative stillness. At this stage, it is useful to recall scientific analogies. In modern physics, the concepts of energy and matter are closely linked. Energy can transform into matter and back again, as demonstrated in high-energy particle experiments. Likewise, in the Hermetic system, the material world does not exist independently. It is only the product of polarization and interaction of primordial energy. Just as atoms gather into molecules through forces of attraction and repulsion, so do spiritual rays form material objects through the balance of active and passive poles. This confirms the key Hermetic principle, the law of correspondence, or the principle of analogy. The lower is like the higher. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm.